Oh, I see. You're one of those. You think that it takes money to make money. You could not be more wrong. Are you kidding me? It does not take money to make money. And in today's video, I'm going to prove it. I'm going to be talking about OPM, not opium, other people's money, and how I have used it to go and take $5,000 of hard-earned saved cash and turned it into $1.6 million. True story. Okay, so here's really the big question for today. I'm gonna share with you and break it all down how I did this, but I want you to be thinking OPM, other people's money, like what does that even mean? This is a really important thing for you to understand because in the world of real estate, you can use other people's money to do things. In fact, that's true of business, that's true of most things. I need you to understand that one of the core reasons why people aren't going out there from watching these videos and doing real estate is they're believing thoughts and ideas in themselves that limit them. And one of those ideas is it takes money to make money. I'm telling you right now, if you're waiting to have all the knowledge, if you're waiting to have all the money, if you're waiting to have all the credit, you might actually never get started. And that's the problem, is that most people that are living a mediocre life, it's not like they set out and said, wow, my dream is mediocrity. My dream is to go nowhere in life. I mean, that might be some people, but for most people, I think what's really going down is what they're really saying is, oh, I want to have a great life. I want an abundant life. I want to do amazing things, but I don't have the resources. And what I want you to understand is it's not about whether you have resources. It's about how resourceful you are. You see, OPM is a resource. The money exists. If you want to be a deal maker and you want to put deals together, you need to understand that you don't have to possess all the resources. That is your limited, school head down, learning kind of thinking that is broken and simply doesn't work. Now, I am an entrepreneur and entrepreneurs are known for being outside the box. So let me share with you a little bit about my story and how I went outside of the box and turned literally $5,000 into $1.6 million. I had already caught the real estate bug. I knew that I wanted to make millions in real estate, but I didn't know how. And my very first mentor, he gave me some practical advice. It's not the advice I would give you today because the reality is I know how to go a lot faster than my first mentor told me, but this is really what he said. He said, Kris, you should be at your job for at least 2 years, so that you can get qualified for a loan with the bank. You should also get 3 credit cards and you should keep them paid off so that you can show the banks that you're responsible, but they need a 2-year history with you owning 3 credit cards. And number 3, you got to get a little money in the bank, like get $5,000 in the bank because you can put 3% down on a home that you're going to buy and live in that can double as an investment property. Let me just slow that down. I want to make sure you heard that. He basically said, stay at your job for 2 years. I was already there for a year, so I just needed 1 more year. He said, get 3 credit cards to show the bank's credit worthiness. I had 1, I needed to get 2 more. And then he said, make sure that you have $5,000 saved in the bank so you have a little down payment. I took this mentor's advice, and I am really glad that I did, by the way. Even though I know how to go way faster, that put me on hold for 14 months. But 14 months went by, and I had my $5,000. You know what I did with it? I took that $5,000, and I used it as a down payment on a house that had a bunch of equity in it. And it was worth $150. I bought it for $110. And I can't tell you how thrilled I was. I mean, I was going to move into it. It had a basement apartment, rented that out. And basically for a year, I was making my plans for my next house. And I now had a resource because this house had all this equity. I remember I went to Wells Fargo, the bank, and I said, hey, can I pull some of this equity out? And they gave me what's called a home equity line of credit for $18,000 something change. And that $18,000, I took that, and if I borrowed it out of the house, I was going to have to make a payment on it. So I used it and I put it into the second house that I purchased. Now, the second house that I bought ended up producing a $600 a month cash flow after I made my payment. So it was thrilling to be getting ahead so much. And that house I had bought, I ended up making $130,000 on. In fact, the equity in that house, guess what I did with it? I bought more houses. In fact, it helped me buy my 3rd property. Now, mind you, I'm still only $5,000 out of pocket. But I got these 3 homes. And at that point, something really cool happened. My father-in-law, who was super skeptical of what I was doing, now that I had done it 3 times, he was willing to kind of put that skepticism on trial. And he said, Kris, break down for me what you're doing. And I showed him how this little bit of money was making me all this money. And guys, I don't even want to tell you the ROI because it's astronomically huge. when you take a small amount and you turn it into, a couple $100,000 of net worth and over $1,000 a month of cash flow after living entirely for free, that's pretty awesome. So he decided to take a bet on me. And on my fourth deal, he said, I'll put the money in and we'll split it 50-50. We did it. We made money on that deal. And because it worked, we said, well, let's do it again. We did it again. We did it again. I remember I was sitting in college. This was my senior year. I had about 10 homes at the time. And I sat there thinking, man, can't wait for college to be over. I'm not really going to use this degree. But I've bought now these 10 homes. I want to go faster. I want to go faster. Like, this works. But my father-in-law can only buy so many houses. And I need to wait for my real estate to mature. But how do I go faster? And that's when I had this idea. I need more father-in-laws. There's got to be can I plural marriage or, okay, that's a bad joke. But what I ended up doing, seriously, I can't even hear you guys laughing. It's stupid. But seriously, what I ended up doing was thinking there's got to be other father-in-laws out there. And I made a list. You can do this, by the way. I made a list of people I knew that were crushing it in corporate America and had been working there for 20 plus years. Now, conservative individuals that are making a lot of money in corporate America, they are excellent 401kers, IRAers, house payer offers. That was my assumption. I wrote down a list of 4 people. And I'm going to tell you, it took a huge act of courage because I was scared. But I called them up and I said, can I take you to lunch? I've been doing this thing in real estate. I want to actually show you what I've been doing. And all 4 of them, you know what they said? They said, sure. In 1 week, I took all 4 of them to lunch, just kind of one at a time. And I showed them my 10 properties. I showed them my returns, and I showed them how much money I was making my father-in-law, who was my partner. And you know what? All 4 of them individually, independently decided, you know what? I've got money sitting in my IRA or my this or that or home equity. Let's partner together. So I started buying a home every single month. This is what got me to 25 properties. And even though I was splitting everything with them, it was so lucrative. I was clearing on average over $12,000 a month. And that's when I decided to quit my job. Friends, at that point, 4.5 years later from that first house, my net worth on those 25 properties for my part of the ownership, $1.6 million. My personal income, $12,000 a month. And that was enough for me to quit my job. Now, that all happened because of this thing here called OPM, other people's money. So let me share with you the top 3 OPM strategies. Okay, the first one is you can just go and borrow money from a bank. Now, the bank on an investment property or a primary residence, they're going to want anywhere from a 3% down payment all the way to 20%. And that for some people is a lot of money. I had to save up 14 months to get my 3%. Some of you have money sitting around and you could actually put 20% down and the bank will lend the other 80 to 97%. So a bank is your most common source of other people's money. Your second source is that if you can use the strategy to get yourself into a house, if you buy that house intelligently, if you buy it at a discount, buy low, sell high, if you buy it with some equity, guess what you can do? That house can be your bank and it can give you the money. And all you're going to need is the credit. In this situation, you need credit and money, or at least someone's credit and someone's money. Here, you just need credit to access from that house. And the third one that I was sharing with you is a partner. A partner is a person that says, wow, I admire your track record, or I respect what you're doing, or your system, and it looks like it's working for you. Can I kind of be more of a passive role and give you the money, and we can kind of team up on this? These 3 strategies, a bank, a house, and a partner, friends, these are really excellent tools that you can use for launching yourself into the game of real estate and crushing it. Now, if you're ready to take action, but you just don't know where to start, what you probably need is a private custom game plan. Because you might be saying, I don't have credit, or I don't have money, or I have a 401k or IRA, or I have this asset, or I just don't know where to go from here. And I actually have a team in my entire empire that I've built whose job is basically to talk with my YouTubers and answer questions and give you a custom game plan. Basically put themselves in your shoe and say, wow, if I were you, how could I help you, or what would I do to get my first properties rolling? If that would be useful for you, all you got to do is click the link in the description below and boom, my team will be in touch with you in the next day or 2 and we'll give you that custom $1 million game plan. Friends, thank you so much for watching today. If you are not, make sure you are a subscriber. You can like this, and if the video is good for you, share it with somebody. Put it on your social media and share with them what you've been learning in this game of real estate, or comment on it below.